Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I am good.
Good. Good. Healthy fast food.
I know.
Does
It
that
seems
does that even go together?
well. I know. It's funny because every once in a while I'll get a patient who wants to lose weight, but then when I start talking diet with them, there's just so many things they're not willing to do. They travel or they work all the time and they can't cook. So you even though I don't think that's the best way to lose weight, I do still have to work with people who, you know, challenge me as far, everybody's not going to go and meal prep.
Absolutely. No, I agree. It is kind of one of those things that I've had to work around, because too, I always say you've got to meet people where they're at. And if you're meeting them where they're at and they're used to eating fast food all the time, it's like, and you try to transition them to cooking every meal or eating lots of raw veggies or something. I mean, that's just too big of a leap for most people. So yeah, like you said, what are the healthiest options?
I know. And sometimes I'll just change what they think. I'm like, sometimes you think fast food has to have a drive through and it has to be fried or have some French fries with it. And I'll say, have you been to Chicken Salad Chick? Maybe you've been to Panera. I'll start naming different restaurants that they don't necessarily think are fast, but you'll get your food just as fast as a place that serves fries, but maybe you'll have some more vegetables, like something.
Well, and I was thinking, fast food, I'm thinking more of the drive-through
Me
type
too.
of, that's what I was thinking. So yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah. So I'll even do that. Like Chicken Salad Chick is fast. I can get in and get out faster than if I sit and wait for my food at, a burger place. But people don't ever think like, oh yeah, that's fast. If they tell me like they have to eat fast food because of a time crunch, I'll say, all right, this takes just as much time. And they're like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like
Chicken Salad Chick. I've heard of that. I haven't been there.
you've never been.
So.
It's like they have a very limited menu because they only sell chicken salad. Well, they sell like pimento loaves and egg salad. They serve egg salad, but it's basically almost like a Jason's Deli, but just serves chicken salad.
Oh, interesting.
But
Okay.
their sides are like a broccoli salad and they're or a grape salad. I mean, their sides aren't fried. So
Right.
And then the chicken salad, I mean, yeah, you could get it on a sandwich bread or you can just get a bowl of chicken salad. So you don't even, if you're gluten free, you can totally go there and have gluten free stuff.
Right.
But
Well, I know I've had people, just even thinking of like Whataburger, they'll get a bunless burger.
Right.
So, which that to me is like, well, that's another step up, right?
I know.
A
Yep.
lot of places actually have really great salads. I learned, which is kind of interesting. We don't think about that.
Yep.
And then what I would do, because I had a lady, she was going through Chick-fil-A a lot. It's like, okay, well, what's the next best thing you could do, like a step above what you're doing right now? And so that's why I say make these little changes. We're like, oh, okay, well, that's no big deal. I can do that. And then like, okay, what's a little bit better than that? So it's an interesting way to work with people, but I think it helps people make lifelong changes versus if you do too drastic and people are really accustomed to eating a lot of fast food, drive-through fast food, I'll say, to try to make this huge leap to, it ends up being more of a temporary thing for them versus a permanent thing. So
yeah, that's why I start naming new restaurants. I've even like with this one guy who was like, no, I work all the time and I just pick stuff up. I even was like, where do you live? What's the zip, or where do you work? What's the zip code? And we typed in the zip code and looked at the restaurants and I'm like, did you know that there was a this next door? Like even Panera, chicken. I was actually just trying to get him to not go to the same restaurant because if you go to the same restaurant, you get the same thing. I do that. If you send me to one Mexican place, oh, I like their enchiladas, and I'm not even going to think about it. But I'm like, if I even just get you to the restaurant next door, now you have to look at the menu. Now I can get you to think, hey, they have a salad. Oh, wait, they have a grilled chicken sandwich and not a fried chicken sandwich. Wait, maybe I'll get, so I can start making them kind of examine the menu a little bit better, or we go through calories. I'm like, this sandwich has 100 fewer calories than this one. And my other big thing is like what you drink at that place. Like, okay, you're drinking soda. And
Yeah,
that
that's a tough
is,
one. That's always my thing is to tell people tea, if anything, to switch away from the sodas because I'm definitely opposed to the diet ones. But anyways, it's that's an interesting thing. So usually tea or water. So
yeah. No, so, but I'm normally, I would agree with you because I am opposed to them drinking diet soda because that those artificial sweeteners don't have a lot of health benefits, except they do remove calories. And then, so I had the guy drank 4 Dr. Peppers a day.
oh my goodness.
Right. So in him, and I was like, okay, so do you like any diet soda? Because at this point, I'm just like, dude, I can get like 800 calories out of your diet if I can change these sodas. Okay. And if they had to be diet soda, so be it. He's like,
Right.
no, I don't like diet Dr. Pepper. He goes, I do like diet Big Red. And I'm like, so eventually, like the second time he came to see me, he didn't really change a lot of his diet, but he did switch from 4 Dr. Peppers to 2 Dr. Peppers. I'm like, huge improvement, huge.
Improvement's better than no
I know,
improvement.
huge.
I guess I've seen the toxicity of those
Oh
artificial
yeah,
sweeteners is
you're
worse
right.
to me than the calories of the high fructose corn syrup.
You're right. It's a lateral move at best. But I even said, okay, so I was like, so can we do 1 Dr. Pepper and 1 diet Big Red? Then I've just gotten rid of so many calories. And I'm like,
Right.
and I was like, for lunch, I don't want you to eat beef. You go find some chicken salad. You can go find some fish. I was like, you can save your beef for when you're enjoying dinner with your wife. But at lunch, when you're picking up something fast, just challenge yourself to not have anything with beef in it because his cholesterol was high. So I'm like, now we got to get rid of the beef and the pork. And I can at least cut that in half if I don't let you have it at lunch.
Right.
Get something fast, get rid of most of your sodas. Even at this point, I'm like, drink coffee all day. I don't care. Huh?
Interesting thing. I mean, it does, it's fascinating how many sodas people drink. They drink them like in replacement of water almost.
Yeah. Yep.
And that is, I mean, every once in a while having a Coke or a Dr. Pepper is one of those things that I'm not totally opposed to because, I mean, I'll enjoy it every once in a while, but to do it every day
right
and have it, that is your main beverage and your main source of
correct
fluids is kind of.
Yeah, he was almost eating, as much. The Dr. Pepper, that's like, I think it's 230 calories. Don't ask me why I know that. Something like 250. Let's say it's 250 calories per can, like a 12-ounce can or something.
Oh,
so
wow.
that means he's drinking 1,000 calories a day just in, I mean, I can go through a day just eating that. That's all the food I eat is 1,000 calories. And he's going to do that just in what he drinks with the meal. I'm like, yeah, we're going to change that. So he did start drinking more water because he got rid of 2 of the big bottle. I think he was drinking actually 20 ounces, which is more than that. Like I know 12 ounces is going to give me like 250 calories. He was drinking more than, and the amount of carbs he was drinking. I mean, that I was like, oh my God, you're drinking like 400 carbs a day just in drinks. So I was like, so that's why I was like, even diet Big Red, we just got rid of lots of carbs. We just got rid of, you will lose weight. You won't be healthier, but you will lose weight just getting rid of, if I could have, yeah. So, but
yeah, that's a good point.
I was like, at minimum, we will get the healthier, no, but the challenge at hand is you don't want to be gaining weight anymore. Yeah.
So but that is the one, I guess, for as far as healthy fast food. I mean, there are some options that I've seen in different places that are not, I mean, not that I would call it the healthiest thing you could do. With that being said, I know people are on the go a lot and sometimes it's just one of those things. You got to do it and or not eat, right? That's always a possibility, just to fast during that time. But the average person is not thinking like that. They're not really conditioned mentally to do that compared to just eat something on the go. And I mean, I go through drive-throughs on occasion, especially when we're running around like crazy, our crazy schedules. And so what do you choose? Like, what is the healthiest option that you would choose? Do you have a fast food place that you tend to go to sometimes?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I tell people to do, because they're eating at their desk, and I'm like, keep things at your desk that might be like, keep a protein bar at your desk, keep almonds at your desk so that you can get by yourself some time to go get something less fast, or, and I'm, big on like people snack on candy during the day. So sometimes, and we don't think of that as fast food, but it is something fast that people will grab that they aren't supposed to do. So I'm like, keep gummy bear vitamins, keep gummy bear vitamin C. When you want some candy, eat 5 of those. I was like, you had candy, but you had your vitamins. So I try to get them to like start keeping things in their desk where they're not like, hey, grab me a burger. And then when you do send someone out to get something, it can still be fast, but it make sure it's got, vegetables and tomatoes on it, let them grab you a salad. So I think if I went to eat fast food, where would I go? And usually I eat fast food if I'm driving across the country and there's literally nothing else to do.
Right, right.
In my normal life, I would be at, like I said, chicken salad chick, because I know that there's nothing fried. If you put me in a place where there's fries, I'll end up eating fries.
Fries. Yeah.
Because I know that I will do that.
It depends, I mean, I don't know, I'm kind of particular about things like that, but I know it, like Chick-fil-A, because my son likes Chick-fil-A sometimes, so we'll do that. But the grilled chicken nuggets
Right.
are pretty darn tasty. They taste almost have the same flavor. Now, not that that's, some nice organic free range chicken, but it's at least better than a bunch of fried chicken.
Correct.
And then they've got this really great kale salad that I get, and he likes to get the fruit cups. So it's like, okay, so we're doing fast food, we're in a hurry, we're on the go, and what do you order? So that's typically what I like to get. And iced tea, they've got really great tea there. So it takes a fast food experience and makes it the best you can make it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I would look at it. Or like you said, grilled chicken sandwiches compared to fried chicken sandwiches. Or like I said, I've had some people that would have done like bunless burgers at Whataburger. I didn't even know they did that. But
no, you know who does that?
Put it in a container with the meat, cheese, and your vegetables, and you eat it with a fork.
Oh yeah. No, at In-N-Out Burger, they actually, I think, is it called protein style or animal style? Well, they actually call it something when they give you a lettuce bun. Basically, they wrap the whole burger in lettuce and put everything inside of it, and they give you enough lettuce where you can eat that like it's a bun. Because my sister's gluten-free and she orders it like that.
I know I had, oh gosh, what was that? Not Jason's. It was one of those sub places that delivers. One of the girls in my office, that she's not there with me anymore, but she used to order from them a lot. But they would have lettuce wraps, and so you could get like a sub sandwich, chicken slices or ham, cheese, whatever you would put in a normal sandwich, but they'd put it in a lettuce wrap, which I thought was pretty cool. So
yeah, that's cool. Another thing I tell people to do when they're always looking for something fast, because the other thing about fast food is you kind of have to break this habit of thinking that you have to go through a drive-through to get something fast. I'm like, what if you make overnight oats and then take that with you in the morning, and then you can eat that on the go without having to stop and get something, then you have control over one meal. I'm like sometimes if you're eating 3 meals out that are fast and fried, maybe if I get you off the pancakes drive through and get you like an overnight oats, get you a couple of almond packs so you can have some healthy snacks, then you're only eating one fast food meal a day. I've just like cut down on some of your fast, right?
Yeah, well, that's true. Or hard-boiled eggs, that's another one that I always tell people is really easy. Boil some eggs, keep them peeled and in the fridge and ready to go. And those are just great snacks,
Yep.
Protein that's food. It's not just, something that's processed. Carrots and celery and cucumbers, just keeping those things on hand.
Right.
And I know it costs a little more to buy them pre-packaged and pre-sliced, but if it makes it easier, it's fast.
Yeah.
That's what they're needing.
They were picking up something for $10 anyway, so it really doesn't cost them that much more to buy boiled eggs, or it's easy for them to make a bunch of boiled eggs, leave them in the refrigerator, and pack a little basket that has, carrots and eggs and, like one little snack for the day, so that they don't eat, like I said, cuts down on the amount of fast food. Even if they're going to eat fast food, it cuts down on, it takes one meal a day away from them.
Right. Yeah, and they're making it a lot easier. I know at HEB, they've got that huge section. I think Kroger has it too now, of like, it's almost pre-packaged meals that are kind of, some of them you have to heat, some of them are salads, or they're like cold meals that are actually pretty healthy. Some of the salads are pretty good. I got recently at Kroger, I believe it was a grilled salmon, and I think it was green beans, but it was really tasty. I was pretty impressed because it was one of those like, okay, I gotta hurry, and it would cook quick. It was actually pre-cooked; you just heat it up. But that was pretty good. So there are a lot of different ways to do that. You just have to be really conscientious of it.
Right. Because I think that what was it called? My Fit Foods. And I think HEB really I think once upon a time, HEB had My Fit Foods in their location, and then My Fit Foods closed. So then HEB took over that little packaged food on the run thing. So, and I will tell people to do that. Like, why don't you go to HEB, pick up a couple of things, and then take them to lunch with you? So then you don't have to leave and go figure out the fried food disaster that you're gonna do, and you save that for when you have to. Like, if you like, I have people who are maybe like drug reps and they're in their car all day driving to different offices, and so they really don't have a place where they can keep their lunch or warm up a lunch. So it's easier to counsel my patients who actually sit at a desk and have a refrigerator that they have access to and a drawer where they can keep their vitamins. But someone who lives out of their car, they are going to drive through places. And then I just mentioned to them, well, one guy lost, what was that, the Taco Bell drive-through diet and the Subway diet.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about this Taco
Bell. Oh, yeah.
What
that was about the same time as the Subway, but this guy just ate Taco Bell, and whatever they ate, whatever, I think Taco Bell maybe has a light menu, and or they have, if you look it up, if you Google it, it'll tell you like what things that they have that are very like more stripped down and don't have a bunch of junk on them. They're just sort of like the taco al fresco, the taco with meat in it at the end, so it was just different than the taco with a bunch of stuff in it. So
right.
So sometimes, the Taco Bell had a diet, Subway had a diet where people were eating certain things off the menu, and it was like a controlled amount of calories, and they actually lost weight because it wasn't the randomness that they were, without counting the calories. You have to actually look online and say, what are their lower calorie options, stick to those instead of maybe doubling your calories with a different option, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. Now I don't think of necessarily low calorie as healthy, but yeah, so
but sometimes there's stuff on there that's like you're right, it doesn't equal, because it still's got gluten, it still has milk, it still has, but sometimes, like I said, even just cutting 200-300 calories a day over time can make somebody not gain weight. Right. So
very true. So that,
and it's doable, because
even if you're having a low calorie meal at some of these places, goodness, some of the chemicals and junk that they put in the food.
True.
I saw somebody had posted a picture. Their son had done a 5th grade experiment of they bought a Happy Meal, and she says, yeah, he's a junior this year, and they take a picture of the Happy Meal every year, and it has not changed.
Oh yeah.
The burger, the fries, I mean, it literally looks the same as it did 10 years prior, which is, that boggles my mind how much stuff they put in our food to, anyways. But the other thing is too, I mean, I know I'm not it's not considered health food by any means, but to lower the calories is ordering off the kids menu.
Yeah.
And
yep.
At restaurants as well, that's another thing.
That is true. That is
if
true.
They'll let you do that. Some of them are a little bit more strict than others with that, but
some of them don't let you order the kid off the kids menu if you're an adult.
Yeah, I've seen some restaurants, for our guests, they're 1200 or something, so they don't like to have adults order off the kid menu. So probably it's a financial thing, I guess. I don't know, but it is. I have seen that on some of the menus that I've seen.
Oh, so. Okay. I'm about to say, I guess I never thought about it that way.
I don't know if they tell you absolutely cannot, but
right.
It's funny when I see that. So.
Well, so I think they point out that it's for 12 and under because they don't want you to get something tiny and be like, what the hell kind of food did you bring me? They might want you to know, like, this is for little people that aren't going to eat a lot.
Some of the restaurants, they'll have like just a little mini, like just a lot smaller portion of a chicken breast or steak than on the adult menu, which is probably a more realistic portion size, interestingly, even for an adult. I was just talking to somebody earlier this morning, and we were just talking about portion sizes, and she said, she was able to lose her 2 pounds last week, even though she had Thanksgiving and stuff like that going on. And she says, I still had a serving. She goes, I really like my mashed potatoes and gravy and my stuffing. It's just a Thanksgiving thing. And, it happens once a year. And I still had it. She goes, I just had a a lot smaller portion than I would normally have. And so, that was a good lesson too. It's definitely possible to have our foods. It's just we're so conditioned that our American portion sizes are just so massive. They're just not, that's not normal. But we've gotten so conditioned as thinking that, oh, bigger portion means more value.
Right.
So
Yeah, we don't realize that. We like when I was younger, if you gave me a triple cheeseburger, I could totally eat the triple cheeseburger and the supersized fries. And now that I've gotten older, I realize if I ate half of that, I'm still perfectly fine. I never needed the whole thing. I just could eat the whole thing when I was younger. Now I would feel less comfortable eating the whole thing, but it's like there's no shame in like cutting it in half and leaving your food and eating it later. You don't need to go out at lunch and dinner. It's possible that your lunch and your dinner, you could split that in half and eat some of it now and some of it later and not go and get 2 full meals.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, our portion sizes are just so huge. So yeah, and that's something to think about too. I know to order the smaller versions instead of the double meat, triple meat, whatever it is, to just get the smaller portion and eat it slower. Because I think that's a big part of it is like people are in such a hurry all the time. Speaking of like fast food, they're in such a hurry that even when they get their food, they eat it fast. And so don't even really taste it, don't really give their body enough time to really chew it properly and swallow it the way they're supposed. It's like everything is so fast these days that
Now, do you ever have anybody do anything before they eat to like reduce the amount of food they can eat? Like, do you ever say drink 20 ounces of water before you eat, or take a supplement like a carb blocker supplement, or take a capsule? Is there anything you ever tell people to do to make it where their meals they become more satisfied without eating a lot of food?
well, yeah, no, the water is a big thing because I think a lot of people feel hungry and they're actually dehydrated. So that's always something that's important, to keep people hydrated. I don't tell people, oh, drink this amount of water before you eat. But I have done that before. It's like to drink a lot of water before it does start filling up your stomach so you don't feel as hungry. That's a big thing. There are some interesting carb blockers. I'm not really actively using those much with people. It's one of those things that I try to tell people if you really need it, but I'd rather people make those different choices to where they're not dependent on those types of things because, I don't know. That's just kind of I've got carb blockers. I've gotten a couple of them. I think they're probably effective to use around the holidays when you're eating mashed potatoes and stuff. And with that being said, the lady I was just working with, she was able to lose some weight in spite of eating her food without a carb blocker, just because we've been working on her mentality and mindset about choosing smaller portions and sitting down and really enjoying it when she's eating it versus, inhaling it and having too much, so what do you think? Do you use anything like that too? Or
Mostly I'll do the water trick, maybe like there are certain maybe essential oils that'll kind of help, like if they put orange or lemon, sometimes those fragrances kind of help you with your eating management.
mm-hmm.
What other carb blockers would I use?
Because you're tasting like
Yeah.
a food when you're drinking the water, right?
Yep.
So it feels like you're not just getting water. So
Correct. You feel like you've had a whole lemonade or Kool-Aid and you feel like you've had calories.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, chromium is a good carb blocker, but I just want people to have chromium every day or I don't have a special take chromium right before you eat, but I would make sure people are on like a Weight Smart multivitamin that has chromium in it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Chromium is really important for the carbohydrate metabolism. So I don't know, does it actually block carbohydrate metabolism or does it just assist
It
with
help
it?
it helps you manage them better. It doesn't really
Okay.
block them, like put them in your colon and send them out of the body, but it will help your blood glucose management so you don't store them. It helps with storage.
Okay. Yeah, chromium is important because I know and people that eat too many carbohydrates end up deficient in chromium and thiamine and some of those nutrients too. So I always tell people if they do increase their carbohydrates for some reason, to take an extra B complex as well, because just to make sure their body's got sufficient nutrients to actually metabolize the carbohydrates they are getting. So that is something I have told people when they eat too many carbs.
What about tea? Do you have them maybe drink green tea?
Well, so green tea, I actually have a green tea supplement that I have. And if I could get people to drink green tea. So green tea to me is a kind of an acquired taste. So if they like it, absolutely drink it, especially sugar-free, just a really good quality green tea. Because there's a lot of, well, there's thermogenic properties to it. There's phenomenal antioxidant properties to it. So there's a lot of different reasons. I don't know if it would necessarily change. I don't know the effect on someone's appetite, though, to like have them drink it before a meal. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, green tea is like a great appetite suppressant because L-theanine, like a lot of people will eat because they're stressed. So if you give them green tea, which has L-theanine, that helps with stress. So in a roundabout way, it is helpful in you not in stress eating. You know what I mean? So if somebody's drinking green tea in the morning, like if they're not a coffee drinker, but they're going to drink green tea anyway, then sometimes for that reason, I would tell them to do it.
Okay.
So there's that.
Do you get people to drink it that are not accustomed to drinking it?
Yes, but those are the people that you have to, because green tea by itself, I just say plop a bag of green tea in some water and drink it, they're not going to like it. I don't like it that way.
Oh, really? Yeah.
No, I would never, but you have to be able to say, okay, I use allulose, which is a 0-calorie sweetener doesn't taste bad. I'll use stevia leaves because I have stevia in my yard. I'll use, some other people would like stevia. So I would, try to help them with like doctoring it up to make it taste decent.
Gotcha.
Or get a pomegranate green tea. Then you've got the different things that pomegranate has and the things that green tea has. So you get a little more control over everything. Or I'll have them drink hibiscus tea. If they hate green tea, which I think is bitter, I actually prefer hibiscus tea. It doesn't have caffeine, but hibiscus tea is also, an important blood sugar stabilizing thing. So, I mean, there's a lot of I can't think of a tea that doesn't help you somewhat with the management of sugar.
I really enjoy green tea. So that's not, but I also know that there's a lot of people that don't, because it's a unique flavor.
It's a unique flavor. Yeah, unique is putting it mild. It's just the bitterness. And if you sweeten it, it's not bitter, but that's why I said the whole problem is now you've sweetened it.
Right.
And that's a whole new thing.
I drink unsweet tea and unsweet green tea, and I don't like. It's funny. We went to dinner last night, and Bo's son ordered sweet tea, and they had flip-flopped the drinks because I had unsweet tea. Anyways, they flip-flopped it. Bo doesn't like sweet tea either, and he's like, oh. And so I was like, let me just taste it. I was like, oh, I can't even drink it. It was just, I don't know.
If I go somewhere and have sweet, because some people really do want their tea sweetened, that's the only way they can drink it. And I'll just say, you know what? Actual sweet tea that's already prepared really does have too much sweetener in it. But you can always get half unsweet and half sweet and mix it together into some reasonable thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. So I know when we were kids, we grew up with sweet tea. I never liked tea, but I remember we'd boil the tea bags, pour it in a pitcher, fill it up with water, and I think we'd put 2 full cups of sugar in that pitcher. It might have been more. I don't remember now, but it just seemed like it was so much sugar that we'd put in there. And anyways, it's just kind of funny because I never liked it. It was always just too sweet for me. But
yeah, I used to make my own. So when I made my own, it was fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think my family drinks it anymore. We haven't. I mean, we had all unsweet tea at Thanksgiving this year. So, anyways, it's just funny to think about that. Like how much sugar. We just didn't know any better.
Oh yeah. No, I make my own sun tea. And when I was in medical school, I would like make, and actually, most people drink Lipton tea. And in
Mm-hmm.
the South, it's really that Louisiana tea. It's
Yep.
Luzianne or something like that. That used to be my favorite. And there was never a time you would walk into my house and not have that tea in my refrigerator. I'd make sun tea and then bring it inside. And I like things lightly sweetened. So, I always have lightly sweetened tea. And if somebody wanted to add more sugar, they were welcome to do it. But I would put just enough tea to cut out the bitterness. And
Mm-hmm.
that's it. So it was like a mildly sweet tea. And I had it all the time. There was never, it would keep me from drinking soda because I will drink soda if I have nothing better to do. But if you give me
Yeah.
tea, I mean, now as I've grown, I've learned to always have tea around. I take it to the gym with me in the morning. I make tea every morning and put it in a big 16-ounce cup and go and drink it while I'm in class every day. And it's a different
What kind
kind
of
of
tea do
tea.
you drink?
I might drink ashwagandha. Sometimes I'll use those powders like
Okay.
matcha green tea, ashwagandha, and maca tea. Sometimes I'll use like a blueberry slim tea, which is probably a green tea. It already comes in a bag. Sometimes I'll drink hibiscus tea. Like at the gym in the summertime, they give us free. Well, no, you buy the cup and then you get all the tea you want for the whole summer. And so it'll
Oh
be
wow, that's cool.
yep. There's green, black, and hibiscus. Those are the only three choices. I'll mix them together. I'll eat mostly hibiscus. I would probably say like 75% of the time I just drink hibiscus tea.
Hibiscus, yeah.
It's good for your blood pressure. It's good for so many things. Hibiscus is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't drink as much tea. I usually drink tea when I either go out, or like in the wintertime, I really like hot tea. So I have, a ton of different hot teas in there. I don't really drink it as much during the, until it starts getting cool outside though, because it's just too hot. Too hot. Speaking of, it was so hot this weekend. So it's kind of weird
Oh
to be.
yeah. See, right now it's winter, so I'm drinking hot tea.
Yeah, well, but I say that, but yesterday it was like 80 degrees. We were doing our Christmas decorating, and I was just sweating up a storm, and it just is weird because it's I'm thinking, wouldn't it have been nice if it was cold enough to put a fire in the fireplace instead of having the AC running? So because it was so humid, but of course it rained today, and now we have a cool front. So
I know. It's all of a sudden like
nice.
in like I was sitting outside for lunch and like in 10 minutes the temperature dropped like 15 degrees. I was like, it was warm. Now it's not. Okay.
I know, wonderful. Our winter weather in Texas or South Texas. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, it was funny because I was up in the attic and in the garage, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so hot. And it's funny because it's not really that hot in the big scheme of things compared to our summers. But
That's true.
it's like my body's already acclimated to being cooler outside. Come on, weather, keep up. But yeah.
I know. I hope it's not hot. I'm going to a football game next weekend. And so speaking of fast food, I'm going to be out at a place where it's like nightmare. I know that I'm not going to make good choices that day.
Well, and that's the thing too, is we always want to allow ourselves to have those times and not make it to where it's this horrible thing,
Right.
So
yeah, if it's daily those times, then you should feel bad when you go out and you do it again. I mean, like it's not like you can't even like say, oh, here's my special time that it's somebody's birthday. Now I'm going to eat that way. It's like you can't eat that like every day is a holiday because one day you'll have some sort of health challenge. And then I'll be like, okay, now you really can't eat salt, sugar,
Right.
this or that. You don't want to get yourself into that point where, you can never eat anything bad.
So you can focus on making great choices 80% of the time. That leaves you that 20% of the time to, I don't want to tell people even for the whole 20% of the time to make, unhealthy choices. However, like you said, if you're going to be out, something like that, you don't have a lot of options and places for like that to eat. I know with rodeo stuff, man, except for the, within the stadium, I should say, there were no choices for anything slightly healthy. So it's like if you go straight from work and you haven't eaten, you don't have a lot of options.
So what is your favorite healthy sweetener?
Well, I don't really. So stevia, I have some stevia packets in there, but I can tell you they're probably 3 or 4 years old, if not older. I don't really use sweeteners. I know I've got that, and then the raw sugar is the only thing that I would use pretty regularly. However, I've really gotten out of the habits of adding sweeteners to like any of my drinks or any of my teas or coffees or anything like that. So I've gotten to where I really just don't use them.
No.
So I don't even get that taste for sugar on my tongue, even if it's a low calorie one. So
what about Manuka honey?
I'm sorry?
Manuka honey.
I've got honey in there, but I guess what would you be adding it to besides like a hot beverage?
Yeah, usually well, if matcha green tea has to have sugar in it to me because it's so bitter that you it's not drinkable. But I mean to me, but Manuka honey is actually studied in diabetics because there's something about that Manuka flower that those bees eat that actually lowers your blood sugar. Manuka honey is like the one honey because it has something in it, because the bees, that's just how the bees are. That was their diet. They put them around all these Manuka cactus plants, and the bees pretty much only eat out of that flower. So those bees poop out that kind of honey. And there's something in that particular, like even Young Living has that Manuka essential oil, but there's something about that oil that helps with your blood sugar, so it won't raise your blood sugar like other honey will. And I tell people that doesn't mean you can eat the whole bottle. First of all, it's a very expensive honey, so you're not going to eat $30 worth of honey at one sitting. So I basically like put a knife in it, so it's not even pulling, like the knife is just getting like wet, and then I stir my tea with the knife. So it's not even a quarter teaspoon of honey. So even if it did have full calorie potential, it would be okay. But I'm only eating a quarter teaspoon, which is really barely 15-20 calories, but it sweetens it enough. And plus, like I said, because of the Manuka, it actually does not affect the blood sugar because something about that kind of controls it.
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know that. I can't remember. It's probably been about 3 or 4 years now. Because I used to add, and I would use raw sugar more than anything to my, because I didn't want the artificial sweeteners. And I wouldn't use a lot, but I would just use, and I finally decided, what is it about this that I can't just stop having sugar? So I finally just kind of forced myself to stop using any sugar. And the first few times I would drink things, coffee, teas, whatever, it was really challenging. But there was a point that I just got used to it, and now I don't like any sugar in it, which is interesting. So I don't know, it's something to maybe try to see if you can really weed yourself off of it for good.
I did, for Lent, I did that once. I used to make tea every day. The hospital gave us free tea, and it was the Starbucks tea. So, every day I drank tea. I would be in there 2-3 times a day. And so first I would use honey, and then I stopped doing that. Then I would use Splenda, and then I got myself, this over a course of like a decade, I got myself off that. And then so for Lent, I was like, look, I can't be using stevia every day. I can't use sugar every day. I got to figure out a way to sweeten this tea without using those two things. So I would put fruit in it. Like I would cut open an orange and squeeze the orange into it, because then it would be like a little bit of sugar because it came out of an orange, but I'd have to work hard for the sugar. Or I put the orange peel even, and then that gave it enough of a flavor. So now that I use a lot more essential oils to flavor things, I don't need sugar as much. I might put vanilla in my drink, because then I add it makes you think it's sweet, but there's no sugar in it. Or I'll put cinnamon oil, because that makes you think it's sweet, but there's no sugar. So I find a lot of ways to change the flavor of my tea to make it where I don't need sugar, but I still have to do something.
Really like that bitterness, huh? Okay.
I do not like the bitter. Like I said, that's why I drink hibiscus, because
I've done that, been there, done that, and it did not work.
No, if you want me to drink it, we're gonna decorate it somehow. So like I said, hibiscus tea I can drink with no flavoring because it's tart, but it's not bitter. But the minute you give me a green or a black tea, I'm going to have to do something to it.
You're like, no way. Yeah, isn't that wild?
But usually I'll use allulose.
I finally just trained myself, I guess, to not use the sugar, but
because then I would drink less tea.
Because I was thinking it's been a few years though.
Yeah, but I literally drink tea every day. I was drinking tea like at least 2 or 3 times a day. So that's a lot of bitterness for me to not find a way to make it where I will drink it, because I think it's good for me. So if I drank tea once a week, maybe I'd suffer through it, but I'm like, no, I want to enjoy it. So I'm going to have to find a way to make it like less bad.
Right. So are you using that vanilla, essential oil?
No, because that's not actually edible. Well, they don't consider that edible, even though it wouldn't hurt, but I use just vanilla but if I use essential oil, I'll use cinnamon or nutmeg or cardamom. Maybe there's a lot of different essential oils I'll use. Cinnamon's the most successful. Peppermint works too. Oh,
Gotcha,
have you
gotcha.
used allulose, which is another type of,
No, I don't think I've ever used that.
they called it like either new sugar. I mean, I've seen it branded as new sugar. They sell it at Vitamin Shop. Sugar RX. At my gym, they have packets of it. They call it Sugar RX, but really it's allulose. And it tastes just like sugar, but it's not sugar. It is a sweetener, but and it doesn't have that weird like stevia is bitter to me, which is another reason I don't use a lot of stevia, although I allow people to use it. I'll say, oh, you can use that if you like the taste, but you've just added bitter stevia to bitter tea, and then I'm still not gonna like it. But that's me. I have a special gene for tasting the bitterness in stevia. Everyone doesn't have this gene, and I do. So that's why I tell people I'm different, and I can taste that bitterness in stevia. Most people can't. But what else do I do? I have Aztec sweet herb on my patio.
Yeah, I was looking at allulose. How are they making allulose?
I don't know. I keep looking it up and trying to figure out what it is, but I'm like, well, it's no calorie and it's natural. What else do I use? There's one more thing I do. Glycerin. I put glycerin when I was doing the Prolon fasting mimicking diet. They have this glycerin drink, and glycerin sweetens things, but your body can't digest it, so it goes straight through you.
Right.
So I'll use glycerin to sweeten things sometimes. And it's very sweet.
Glycerin's pretty sweet.
It's very sweet. but it doesn't, you don't gain any weight. So I use glycerin sometimes too. But yes, I have to sweeten things.
It naturally occurs in fruits like figs and raisins.
Yeah, and they must be getting it out of there. But like I said, they're not manufacturing. It's not like fake, but they're extracting it from something.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But yes, but I have a ton of that in my house. They have liquid allulose. I used to carry that around. I have little packets of it that I carry everywhere. So that's like my new favorite sweetener. Oh, you know what else I use? Inositol. Inositol is a B vitamin. They use it a lot for PCOS, but it happens to be sweet. So I have like a giant container of that, and I'll take a half a scoop and pour it in stuff, and then it makes all my water taste like sugar water.
Okay.
And then I drink it. So I use that like probably 50% of the time.
Wait, how are you doing that again? Say that.
So inositol is a powdered vitamin, basically like glycine and inositol are powdered. One's a powdered amino acid, one is a powdered B vitamin, but they're both very sweet. So you can.
How are you? I know, but how are you? Are you taking it out of a capsule?
No, I have a big giant container, and it's just it comes in powder or capsule.
Oh, okay.
So you could open a capsule, but if you have the powder, you can just scoop it.
I never thought about that.
I do that.
That's a good thing to do.
Yeah. So
I know it's in a lot of the supplements, and it's they're adding it as something that people can be deficient in, but I didn't know it had a sweet flavor to it. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, so that's some of the things, like I get my vitamins out of it because glycine's an amino acid, and it's good for a lot of different things. And inositol is a B vitamin. It's good for like calming, and it's good for bowel regularity. It's good for cholesterol. It's good for it has a lot of different little things that people try.
I didn't realize it was sweet. That's kind of interesting.
It tastes like powdered sugar.
Yeah.
Straight up powdered sugar. It doesn't have a weird taste. Glycine is also a little bitter, but that's me and my little bitter gene. But most people wouldn't notice it. But I still drink glycine. And then inositol, like I said, between my allulose, glycine, and inositol, that's pretty much how I roll every day. But sometimes I like to play with my Manuka honey, like especially if anybody's getting a sore throat or getting sick. I mean, I've had friends at my house like, oh, I think I have something. What do you have, Tamara? And I'm like, oh yeah, hold on a second. I'll get a teaspoon of Manuka honey and put like a cinnamon essential oil, like a drop in there, and have them take it, and they'll feel better in like less than an hour. They're like, what do you do? And I'm like, honey, cinnamon. Not powdered cinnamon, but that one drop of that essential oil will like run through your body and find some things to do. Yep.
So I found, allulose, it says they start with corn, break it down into starch and fructose, and then convert the fructose to allulose via an enzymatic conversion process using enzymes from a genetically engineered microbe. So the enzymes are processing aids, and they are not in the final product, however. So interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yep. And the first time I ever saw it, it just happened to be on sale at the vitamin shop. And I was like, what's this weird stuff? Let me buy one box of it. Then we tried it and we were like, that's not bad. So we went back and we got some more. And now I have tons of it all over my house. And like I said, they have it at the gym. So I can just walk in the gym and throw that in my hibiscus tea that I get all summer long. And actually when I did that, like literally every day for the whole summer and then check my cholesterol, it seemed to be better. It could have been because I was going to the gym every day, but it could have been, yeah, it was, yeah, but I was being, better than usual.
Well, that's very interesting. Yeah. So healthy fast food. I know there's always a healthier option. And I think that's the thing to kind of go with when people are in a hurry. But pre-planning is really important. I think that's what, just like you were saying, to really kind of see what's in the area, do that research, look at the menu before you go. I know I tend to, even when I go to restaurants, a lot of times I like to look at the menu before I go, so I have an idea of what I'm going to get that's a healthier option. So when I'm sitting there at the table, I'm not feeling like, oh, I'm so hungry, and just order the first thing that looks good. So, because those hunger feelings can definitely override, I should say, rational decision making. So it's like emotion somehow always will get the best of us. But you there still?
I am definitely here.
Okay, I heard a funny sound, like some kind of weird sound.
So. Oh yes, I know what you heard. When my computer was doing weird noises.
You said, did it?
I know. I'm about to say, it's like, yeah, but I did not leave. No, that's true. When I was doing something for Lent, I was giving up gluten for Lent one year. I would like check the menus to everything I was going to make sure they had a gluten-free menu. Because sometimes you'll get there and you'll say, bring me the gluten-free menu. And the waiter will be like, what are you talking about? So I will have downloaded it on my phone and I'll say, okay, I know, I will already know what I want to order before I go. So, and that's when people come in and they're like, I eat a lot of fast food. Or what about people who entertain clients? I have patients who go out to lunch. They're like, I'm always at a Mexican restaurant or this place or that place entertaining clients. And I'll like pull the menu up online and go through the menu with them and say, here's the things you can eat. And here are the things that'll be a problem. Even if you have to have dessert, because everyone's having dessert, get the berries, like you get this, you can have that, or, look at all the calories of everything. If you have to look like you're having a decadent dessert, this one has the fewest calories. So, or you got to drink as a part of your job. It's like for a male, that's 2 drinks per day. That's moderate. And for a woman, it's 1 drink a day. So choose your 2 drinks wisely. Don't sit around think you got to keep up with everybody else. You don't. You're trying to lose weight. You're trying to get healthy. So 2.
And they have skinny I know margaritas tend to have so many calories and so much sugar. They have like skinny versions of things too.
They do. Yeah, guys are easier than girls because a guy will drink a scotch, or he'll do something with ice and it'll just be the drink. And a woman is more likely to get some, margarita type concoction, and I'll be like, no. Let's rethink this whole sangria margarita thing. And what can you get? Tequila and lime,
skinny versions somehow, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And usually it just means they're using a lot less of the syrups and sugars.
Correct.
Drink mixes or something, There's always a better option just to kind of keep us in check, right? So, yeah. So that's the key, is the pre-planning, I think, is really getting clear about where you're going and then just plan in advance. Because I do know that when people are really hungry, myself included, I don't make the same choices I'd make is if I'm not like feeling really hungry. And a lot of times when people are thinking fast food, they're thinking from a very hungry place.
Right. That's the other thing. But that's why, hence the snacks, I tell them to keep in their drawer at work, because I was like, eat a pack of almonds before you go and pick up your food, and then you can't finish your food or you're not as hungry. Or you can look at the menu and say, oh, I'm not that hungry, I'll just get this and a salad on the side. You know what I mean? They make better choices when they're not like, oh God, I got to get it in and get, keep going. So I try, like I said, I try to make their snacks healthier. I try to make their breakfast healthier. If they're skipping breakfast and then dying at lunchtime, I might make them like, hey, here's something, eat a boiled egg before you leave, because then you know, when you get to lunch, you've already eaten something. So I just do that.
There are definitely ways. I know one of the girls, we went this weekend and we were talking, and she was talking about an app that she was using. Oh my goodness, now I can't remember what it was called.
Was it My Fitness Pal or Lose It? That's what
No,
everybody's
it
using.
wasn't like a weight loss app.
Oh, was it
What
Noom? It wasn't Noom.
No, it wasn't like a weight loss app. It was more like a meal planning. So you can kind of set your, what was interesting is you could set like, you know, your macros, like how many, you know, how much protein and carbs and fat and your calories and stuff. And it would actually put together menus. And then it would give her the shopping list on what nutrient, what ingredients she needed to go buy, or what foods and how much of different foods. And then like all the directions on cooking the meal. So, you know, she does this for her family. And she said, you know, I just got, it's like you end up feeling like you eat the same thing a lot. So it just gave her a lot of variety, but it also helps them keep their the ratios in check and their calories in check, you know, because a lot of times when we're cooking at home, you know, unless you're really on top of those types of things, sometimes we can lose track of that too, you know. So I thought that was interesting. But she pays, I don't know, it's I can't remember the name of it. Have to ask her again about that, because I thought that's kind of cool, having access to recipes like that that are more customized versus, you know, yeah. So that was interesting.
Yeah, you gotta find the name of that, because I mean, a lot of things seem to do that. So I don't know.
Do they? Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you know, like I know with, if you pay up the upgrade for My Fitness Pal, it'll kind of help you. I mean, I've seen a lot of things, places offer that as a paid app. A free apps will at least track what you do.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, because you know she's got a kiddo and a husband, and so you know she cooks for her family, and so I guess she said, I'm just running out of ideas, but wanting to keep it healthy and have lots of veggies, and you know, and the little ones are kind of unique sometimes because they've got their own special taste buds, I think, and their own opinions about what things taste like. And I think sometimes my son, I really think he can taste things a lot stronger than I can, which is, you know, I don't know. It's something I think about because everything is like so strong to him. So.
Yeah. And I guess maybe as we get older, you know, like people lose their sense of hearing, and you might lose your sense of smell, which goes with your taste. So maybe it's when we're younger, we just haven't junked up our system full of chemicals where we can't smell and taste things.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And I used to taste things when I was a kid, but also I lived in California and the fruit tasted better. So I don't know if I got old and now I can't taste anything, or that I lived in California and the fruit tasted better. I don't know.
Well, you know, when I was young, we tended to have, you know, my grandfather had a whole backyard that was a garden. So we were so used to eating, you know, he had orange trees, grapefruit trees. I mean, so he would pick them up from the valley and they were so fresh, and they had so much more flavor. I do think that a lot of the processing they're doing now and the way they're not letting food ripen on the vine and picking it early and gassing it to ripen it in the trucks. You know, I definitely think that has a huge impact on the flavor. I know a friend of my parents down in Corpus, he still has a pretty big garden, and he'll bring fresh tomatoes. And oh my gosh, the tomatoes are just, the flavor is unbelievable. I have yet to buy a tomato organic. I mean, I don't care where I get it. It seems like it's just, I have yet to find a tomato that tastes the way those that he does, that he grows are. And I think it's because they're, you know, he waits and picks them when they're really ripe. And oh my gosh, they're just, the flavor is just so much different. So I don't know. I don't know if it's our taste buds as much as it is the way the food is grown and processed these days.
Right. Yeah, I definitely, I can't say why. But I did notice that, like, you know, I used to like fruits and vegetables so much better, but we did lived in California. We had fruit trees, grew our own stuff. Our neighbors all had pomegranate trees. So, I mean, most of the fruit I ate was coming off somebody's tree that just ripened next door today, you know, so, and that was very different than, you know, what we have now.
Mm-hmm. I know we have our little orange tree in the back that we planted, and we had had our first orange, and it was so good. And then we had that freeze last year, and it killed
Yes.
unfortunately. So it's like, well, we were starting. Oh well. Oh well. And just start again. What were the odds of that type of freeze happening here?
I know. I lost my arugula, and I'm still sad because I can't find any good arugula. I could not replace my arugula. My kale is now dead. I have Swiss chard, but yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I know. So, well, anything else about eating healthy fast food? Healthy fast food. I was waiting for her to see if she replied yet. She hasn't.
No, we did good. I think we covered healthy fast food and gave people some good ideas.
I think so. I think so. Pre-plan kids menu. Opt for the grilled instead of the fried. Fruit cups over French fries.
Exactly.
Salads if they have it.
Right. And like I said, just bringing your own stuff to work.
Yes.
Keeping snacks. Like snacks save me, man. Even when you go to work and people leave cakes and different things around that you're not supposed to eat and you know it, if you have your own little snacks already ready to go all the time, then you don't worry about it because you've got your own bar at your desk or something yummy, so you don't have to go eating other people's weird snacks.
Yep. True.